Hey, how's it going? Welcome to the Most Excellent Entertainment Podcast. I'm your host, Keith. And our guest today is the author of the book, Two Swords, One Stone, the owner of the WrestlingBehindRingside.com website. He is the creator and host of the WBR Power Hour and the Rising Bands podcast, as well as the creator of the Trading Battle Cards game. Um, Welcome, Archie Coghlan. Man, you are one busy guy. I think you're the most diverse person we've had on the podcast so far. So very
Yeah,
cool,
not
man.
not bad for a blind guy, right?
You know, man. So, what did you start out doing first? Because you've obviously got a lot going on here. What was your first creative venture that you did there?
My book is the first thing that I started
Okay.
with.
And
So
what? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, brother.
so I actually come up with that story in a dream. I mean, I would just go to sleep at night and dreaming,
Oh, wow.
and the story was just coming to me. So um, yeah, so it took me 5 years to write that book, and it's the first book of three. So there's two more still to come.
And what made you decide to actually write it down and turn it into a book? Like where did that idea come from?
That came from always being creative and just wanting to aspire to do more.
Okay.
Because in middle school, fifth grade, I did a writing short story contest and won first place.
Nice. Nice.
And since that story, you know, I can't even remember it to the day, but
Right.
that kind of piqued my interest there. And I was like, well, okay, well, maybe if I'm ever able to write anything again, I'm gonna want people to know about it and share it. So
Sure. Yeah, that guy kind of got the spark going.
yeah,
So,
uh,
from there you ventured off into other things. Was the podcast next? Was it the wrestling podcast or the music podcast, or where'd you go from there?
from there I started doing a podcast called Wrestling Behind Ringside, which was my very first podcast.
Okay.
And because I was having to pay my host, like I think it was $50 a month or $100 a month,
Sure.
uh, that kind of ended quickly because
Right.
you know, money wasn't coming in as fast as it was going out.
Yeah, I think the good thing about the way things are set up now, um, you can put your stuff on iTunes or Spotify for free, and they're the most popular sites. And then that can give you some time to build it on your own. You can promote stuff and you give yourself time to grow. All it really takes is time. It's a lot easier nowadays for people to create and get it out to the world. That's for sure.
Yeah,
But but in the
definitely.
early days, it definitely cost money, and it was a lot harder than it is now.
Yeah. And that's why my company is called WrestlingBehindRingside.com.
Okay.
Oh, because that was the second step of the adventure was starting the website.
Okay.
And
And what
then
I was just going to ask, what kind of content is on the website?
there's blogs that I've done on there. Um, there's even a short story that I did on there where I wrote out a full matchup with me versus somebody else, and I was going underneath the name of Blind Heart.
Okay.
So, um, so yeah, you can find that under there, and then there's just some other random.
Okay. And it all kind of comes back around to writing, even the wrestling stuff you're still
Yes,
writing.
yeah. In fact, I'm actually working on some wrestling books right now on the side of the
Awesome.
Tucson saga.
That's
So,
awesome.
uh,
Are they going to be biography type deals or like history of wrestling, or what are you looking at doing there?
it's actually going to be fantasy wrestling books. It's going to be like each book that's going to be 12 in a series.
Okay.
And one book is going to be like 1 hour of programmed wrestling that you would see on TV.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah.
So,
I read wrestling books. I read, and I don't just read the biographies and the behind the scenes type stuff. I read the fiction too. So, um, that could be really fun, man. I'd be interested in checking those out for
oh yeah,
sure.
got some great. I got 16 great characters to start off with, plus a bunch of side characters for referees and
Nice.
announcers and all that. So, you know, but
And
that's
you obviously have a passion for wrestling, and you can tell when you're reading a book that's based on wrestling, whether it's written by somebody who really understands and who loves wrestling, as opposed to somebody who's just putting wrestling elements into a different story. I think you can
yeah.
tell.
I mean,
So
each matchup in the book is actually being told by the announced commentators.
awesome. That sounds
So,
cool.
uh, so it's not like the story that you'd find on my blog
Right.
where it was being told by me in the ring going through the match,
Okay.
but it's being told from a different set of eyes.
Okay. And so the Rising Bands podcast, how did that come about?
Um, that was pure accidental. Um, so a good friend of mine from high school, his name is Kevin Durr, and he used to play with 12 Stones back in
Oh,
2001, 2002. He was their
okay.
bass player.
Okay.
And
12 Stones is kind of a big band.
yeah, they played We Are One for Nexus.
Nice. Nice. I
So
remember they
yeah,
had a song on the Daredevil soundtrack.
yes.
That's cool.
I know actually they didn't. It
Oh, they
was
weren't on the Daredevil soundtrack?
no, Paul was, but not the whole band.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, it was only Paul doing the male singing to Wake Me Up, Bring Me Back.
Right. The Evanescence tune. Yeah. 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 That's right.
That's
That's
it.
what it was.
Yeah. Um, so, but me knowing him, and then he got he had a new band going. They just recently broke up here at the beginning of this year. It was called Undivided Band, but with rock music, country, and a rap singer.
Okay. Interesting.
So
That's an interesting mashup.
yeah, and they dude, they're great. Um,
Sounds cool.
but it was hard for them to get it off the ground, and so they, just decided to go their own way. But that is what it is.
Okay.
Um, but in the process of me trying to book a wrestling event, and at this event, I wanted live music. I managed to contact my friend, and he hooked me up with his agent's phone number. Well, the event didn't take place, so that flopped out. And
Right.
then,
Been there.
but then an opportunity arose, so I called the agent. Was like, "Hey, if I started a podcast interviewing singers, you think you could hook me up with something?" He's like, "Yeah, I got 14, 15 people I could hook you up with." So he started lining me up singers, and
That's
it
awesome.
often I don't find a lot of them because I have to go and find them now myself.
Right.
But you know, I've had great interviews. Some of them are have come back to do a second interview with me, uh, such as the Amos, who won last year's New Rock Group of the Year for the uh, uh, God, the I can't remember what award it was. The
You said Llamas? I think I've heard of that band.
no Amos.
Oh,
A
Amos. Oh, okay.
yeah
I was just
A
thinking Llamas was like a alternative rock band in the '90s. But okay, so Amos.
yeah ALMAS.
Okay, okay, cool.
Um,
I'll have to check them out.
Definitely a great band. Got great songs out there, including two of my favorites, which is Toxic, and Superman. So
Nice,
as
nice,
as well as some songs that would go great in WWE today,
nice.
such as Crowns, Burnout, and
Cool.
Cage.
Very cool. So, what's been the most interesting story that you think you've heard interviewing bands on your podcast?
The most crazy story that I've actually heard is from Vivid and Boger when I was interviewing Aaron Scott, the lead singer. And just from out of the left side, he just comes in, he starts talking about how he does human suspension while
Oh,
singing. So it's like, what? He's like,
yeah,
yeah, dude, and they stick these hooks that are like, you know, as thick as a pin in my back and hoist me up, swing me around. And I'm like, God,
yeah. That's something, man. The concentration that you would have to be able to do that and sing at the same time, like,
yeah.
oops, that's something, man.
So,
Jeez.
but yeah, he's pretty cool. He's been on
Yeah.
my podcast twice. Unfortunately, the second time I didn't realize my iCloud was running out of room, and
Mm.
so it just completely stopped recording on me. So,
Oh, man.
uh,
Yeah.
but yeah, we got the main reason why you come on the podcast up there. So
Good. Good. Yeah. We have to rely on technology, unfortunately, man. Our first podcast we tried to do, um, we couldn't get it going, so we missed recording our first two episodes. Had to reschedule them, so now we're recording 3 episodes next week to catch up on the 2 episodes that we missed. It's just it can get kind of crazy relying on computers and data and whatever else to keep things going, but where we're at. So
well, and I know I didn't mention this to you earlier, but I'm also a Special Olympics silver medalist for bowling.
oh, excellent, man. That's really 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 cool. I'm a big supporter of the Special Olympics. I think I think it's important that everybody has an opportunity to shine, and that's awesome, man.
So yeah, I've won trophies and then I won a silver medal. So yeah, um,
That's very cool. What's the
I
Special Olympics experience like? What's that? What's that whole thing like?
it's pretty awesome, especially with the bowling. Uh, you know, my wife is my assistant. She takes me up, she lines me up where I need to be, gives me the ball, walks away. I bowl it, and I can hit strikes. I can pick up spares. Uh,
Awesome.
I bowl somewhere between a 115 and a 150.
Okay, it's better than me probably.
But
I don't even know my bowling score,
yeah,
so that's awesome, man.
uh, but here the last several times that I bowled, I went up against people that were in 2 to 250
Oh,
range.
okay. Yeah.
and it's like, okay, yeah, they're better, but
Yeah. It happens.
yeah,
There's always somebody,
yeah.
always somebody a little bit better than you. Now, as far as this card game, the Trading Battles game, how exactly did that come about, and what exactly, like, how do you play? Where is it available? Like, that sounds pretty cool.
Okay, well, it's not available yet.
Okay.
It's still being worked on. It's probably going to take about 2 years for me to get it out there.
Okay.
Um, but it's me and my daughter working on it together. She's doesn't live with me, so it's a lot of phone communication there. But she's giving me the
Okay.
points that the card should have, and then I'm doing all the descriptions, and then my wife is going to be putting the pictures on.
Nice. So it's like a whole family.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Like,
Um,
the
and
whole family being creative together. That's pretty awesome.
yeah, it's going to be called Jurassic Battle
Okay.
because we're dealing with dinosaurs.
Nice. Nice.
So yeah.
Have
Uh,
you thought about once the concept's all together and stuff, doing a Kickstarter, maybe to help fund it and get it printed up and get it out there?
yeah. I mean, once I get all the cards ready to print and
Yeah.
everything, and I mean, what I'm gonna do is get to like the first 100 dinosaur cards,
Okay.
and as many attack cards and block cards and some lab cards, you
Yeah,
know,
that sounds fun, man.
that you're gonna need for the extra stuff, you know. Uh, Once I get all of them done, then I'm gonna get Kickstarter to kick in and do
Nice.
that. But there's also something special about about these trading cards game that I'm doing with my daughter, and that's we're gonna have two different plastic coins that you can find in a pack.
Okay.
Um, One of them it's called it's gonna be a silver coin, but it's gonna be TC on the back of it, which is
Okay.
treasure coin,
Okay.
and automatically that's gonna start at like $5 retail. So if you
Okay.
want to sell it off to somebody, it's worth
Yeah.
$5.
Very
And it's
cool.
going to go up 5% every year.
Nice.
Um,
Nice.
and then there's going to be a gold one called Super Gold, and that's going to start off at like $10. If you find
Okay.
one, you'll have the worth of $10, and then it's going to increase 10% of it.
Nice.
And
Nice.
we're only going to be releasing 100 of each.
Sure. So make it limited, and that makes it more
Right?
valuable. Obviously, yeah.
Yeah. So
So
and there'll be certain dinosaurs on certain ones too. So
okay.
out of the 100, there's going to only be 10 dinosaurs.
Wow. Okay. Cool. So
So,
I didn't mention this at the beginning, but I'm one of the co-hosts of the WBR Power Hour. So I'm sure you'll keep me up on the game because once it gets going, I'll help you spread the word for sure.
oh,
So,
definitely. Um, and speaking of WBR Power Hour, I did check the numbers before getting on today.
okay.
We are at total 522 downloads.
Nice.
That's
Heck yeah.
that's all times. That's from the time that I started in 2019 to today.
Well, still growing, man. That's
Yep. Now
that's awesome.
the last 7 days we've gotten 14 downloads,
Okay.
which is good because I hadn't been getting that before that. So
Right, right. We just kind of just started back up, so
yeah,
that's awesome, man.
and the Spotify impressions are at 43.
Nice. So I mean, like as we'll keep growing. It'll, just like this podcast is growing, WBR is going to keep growing, and yeah. So now you mentioned earlier that you're blind and that you've competed in the Special Olympics. I'm wondering what kind of personal challenges you've had to face as a creator and just as a person, whether it's from your disability or from other things.
Well,
And how did you overcome those?
well, back in my 20s, I was sexually assaulted twice.
Wow.
Uh, and I'm just now recently receiving therapy for that.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
and it's actually been going well enough that I'm actually making a big step coming out on podcast and talking to people about it. So um, just don't ask me any details of,
Of course not. Yeah.
you know,
Absolutely not.
um, but that has helped my creative writing because when I'm doing a match or in my book, like the secrets of the stone is the book that I'm writing now. That is the second book, the two swords, one stone.
Yeah.
So all the battle scenes and the kill scenes, I'm able to, you know, put my anger into that.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
in fact, in Two Swords, One Stone, there's a Stone Cold Stunner in that book.
Nice. Nice.
So yeah, um, as well as a Sweet Chin Music, a 619, uh, and a bunch of other stuff that harpens back to my love of wrestling. So
Sure.
um,
Sure.
even the X sign from DX. So
Nice.
so uh, I lost my eyesight from advanced glaucoma in 2012. Um, in 2010, they told me I had the advanced glaucoma. So within 2 years, I've lost my eyesight. And the first year was my roughest year ever. My mother's daughter actually left me once I went blind. So yeah, I was stuck out on a tree by myself, pretty much.
Man. But
Uh,
seems like you found a good woman now who not only is with you in a personal relationship, but also helps you out with all your creative endeavors, man. So I'm glad that that worked out for you.
oh yeah,
It's
I mean
awesome.
she does give me a hard time sometimes, but
Yeah.
what wife doesn't, you know.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Uh,
Um, yeah, go ahead.
but if I can harken back to a question that you asked me earlier
Sure.
about Rising Band's Pod, one of this,
Yeah.
a story that I had heard from a band
Yeah.
that I've interviewed.
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead.
Um, well, I was interviewing Closure, and they spell it Clozure.
Okay.
Um, and they had just decided to get the final piece that they needed for the band, which was the bass player.
Okay.
So he was being signed, and they were on the phone with him on a video conference with him, congratulating him on being signed to the band. He's hanging out in his hot tub, drinking a beer, when all of a sudden his wife starts yelling. So he's like, "Y'all hang on, I gotta go fight a bear." And they're like, "What?" So all of a sudden, he's showing them the video. He's got the video all set up so that they can see what he's doing. and he's literally fighting a black bear that's in his Jeep.
Holy crap.
So
That, man, okay, that's badass and super dangerous. Like, wow.
yeah,
Man,
so me being a big wrestling fan like I am, I'm like, I don't even think
man.
Stone Cold would wrestle a black bear.
Right, right. I think back in the
And
day, the bears that they used to wrestle were trained. You know, that was the whole
yeah,
big gimmick of wrestling trained bears. But just a wild one getting in your Jeep, I'm pretty sure I'd call the cops or break out a rifle, one or the other. Man,
no, no, he went out there and he was like, "Come on," and he's like, he
wow.
he pretty much put him in a headlock and drug him out the drug him out the
Oh,
Jeep,
Lord.
kicked him in the butt.
That is wild, man.
So
Jeez.
yeah, you know,
Wow.
he said it wasn't the first. You know, they said that wasn't the first time. So,
Man, that's crazy, man.
but
I guess they get hungry, come looking for food.
yeah, he had uh uh something back there in the back of his Jeep that
Yeah,
had some sort of food or something in it, I believe. So,
gotcha.
um, you know, I think it was his lunch box because
Yeah,
he had
sure.
just got home from work.
Yeah.
So he was like,
He's
I'm
like, hey,
hungry.
bologna sandwich.
Yeah, all right. So,
Man. So with everything that you've been through, and all the ups and downs and not just life, but with you know, with the creative path, what keeps you going? Like what makes you still want to do the podcast and write these books and work on the card game and just it seems like you always have some ideas cooking. Like what keeps the ideas coming and what keeps you going?
um, well, it's actually two things. Number one is my daughter and my wife.
All right.
Um, just wanting to do more for them. And number two is I really don't like sitting around getting paid a government standard check every month.
Yeah.
And in order for me to be able to get off that check, I've got to make a lot of money.
Right.
And so I'm
Right.
striving to make a lot of money.
There you go. All right, brother. So I want to thank you first of all for letting me be a part of the WBR podcast. It's so much fun. I think now that we've got Brent on the show too, we're gonna have some great conversations, man, and have fun talking about wrestling. I think it's gonna be
That
awesome.
definitely. Oh, and I forgot to tell you, we're in 5 countries.
We did what now?
We're in 5 countries.
Oh, excellent. That's super
So
cool, man. Nice.
yeah,
Yeah, international fans are really cool to pick up because they're super devoted. I know when I was running World's Finest Wrestling, there were fans in Germany and Australia who would watch us religiously on IWTV. Um, so yeah, if you can get some international fans, they will tune in and week out for sure.
where they're starting to come in from Canada, Bogadash, Germany,
Nice.
and uh, God, it's not Saudi. It starts with a P.
Persian?
No,
Oh, okay.
Pakistan. Pak-
Oh,
Pakistan.
Pakistan. Nice. Okay, cool. I was just trying to think of countries that started with a P. I don't even know if Persia's a country, to be completely honest. I'm bad with countries and continents. I get them mixed up all the time.
But our biggest supporter, other than the United States, is Germany.
yeah. There's a lot of cool German fans. The guy who runs the cage match website is actually from Germany, and he is so into wrestling, man. He loves Midwest wrestling. He said there's just something about it, and that's not the first person who I've heard say that. Like, I don't know what it is about the wrestling out here. But if you look, a lot of guys from Indiana, Ohio, Illinois, uh, Wisconsin, Michigan end up in the big time. So there is something happening out here in the Midwest, man. We've got some really good wrestling going on out here. But
Y'all being corn fed. That's what
there
it
you
is.
go. There you go. Um, but yeah, so man, thank you so much for coming on. Um, and if there's anything you want to say before we hop off, the floor is yours.
Um, well, for those of you who are listening, you can follow me at on Facebook on Wrestling Behind Ringside, or you can follow me or friend request me at Archie Terry Coghlan. Um,
Right.
on X at Cowboy Archie WBR. And for my two podcasts, you can go and search them up. WBR Power Hour, Rising Bands Pod. And other than that, that's about it. I want to thank you for having me on. I look forward to being back on uh, whenever I have some new stuff. Because, like I
Definitely.
said, I am working on some other books. So, whenever they're ready to go, you know, I would love to come on, talk about them, and push those out.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely, man. Um, so yeah, I've already thanked you, but thank you again, Archie. This has been a really cool conversation. You've had an awesome life, man, and you're just getting started. So it's cool to hear about it. And as always, thank you, Tyler Martin, for and Emmy Studios for making this happen. If you guys need any production work, he also does live production. He records live events too. So if you guys need it, hop on Facebook, look up Tyler Martin, look up Emmy Studios. You will not be disappointed. The guy works hard, and I think I'm a pretty easygoing person, but at the same time, I have stuff that needs to be done, and Tyler always gets it done for me. So,
Awesome. Well,
yeah,
I
for
think
sure.
he did a great job for us here.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
all right. So until next week, man. Thank you for watching the Most Excellent Entertainment Podcast.